Hey guys, so we're going to talk about another big move that President Trump made a couple of days ago as he dropped a bombshell executive order on May 12th, 2025 to slash prescription drug prices. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that sounds amazing to me, but you might be shocked to find out there are some people who are just not so excited about this, and I bet you can guess who they are. But to be fair, we do need to take a step back and ask, is this truly big pharma getting the gut punch that they so deserve right now? Or is it all hype? Is this even possible? So let's talk about what the order is, how this might move forward, and what the obstacles might be. And yes, how liberals have found a way to be upset about it. But before we get into this, please hit the thumbs up button on my video and subscribe to my channel. And also turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. I appreciate you so much for doing both of those things. All right, so let's break this all down. Trump's new order is a full-on assault on the insane cost of prescription drugs. Americans, without a doubt, undeniably are getting ripped off, paying 2, sometimes 3 times more for the same pills as people in, say, Canada or Europe. So in a post on Truth Social, Trump said, "For many years, the world has wondered why prescription drugs and pharmaceuticals in the United States of America were so much higher in price than they were in any other nation, sometimes being 5 to 10 times more expensive than the same drug manufactured in the exact same laboratory or plant by the same company. It was always difficult to explain and very embarrassing because, in fact, there was no correct or rightful answer. The pharmaceutical/drug companies would say for years that it was research and development costs, and that all of these costs were and would be for no reason whatsoever borne by the suckers of America alone. Campaign contributions can do wonders, but not with me and not with the Republican Party. We are going to do the right thing, something that the Democrats have fought for many years. Therefore, I am pleased to announce that tomorrow morning in the White House at 9 a.m., I will be signing one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. Prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 30 to 80%. They will rise throughout the world in order to equalize and, for the first time in many years, bring fairness to America. I will be instituting a most favored nations policy whereby the United States will pay the same price as the nation that pays the lowest price anywhere in the world. Our country will finally be treated fairly, and our citizens' healthcare costs will be reduced by numbers never even thought of before. Additionally, on top of everything else, the United States will save trillions of dollars. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again." Now, I think honestly, we've just gotten used to how much our prescriptions cost here, that they are astronomically expensive. And with Big Pharma in control and also politicians playing with them instead of helping us, I don't think we ever thought we'd see anything done about this huge issue. And Trump is done with this as much as anybody else is. So his chosen weapon to fight this is called the most favored nation pricing model. In plain English, we pay what the cheapest developed country pays, no more, no less.
But it's called most favored nation. We are going to pay the lowest price there is in the world. We will get whoever is paying the lowest price. That's the price that we're going to get. So remember that. So we're no longer paying 10 times more than another country. Whoever is paying the lowest price, we will look at that price and we will say that's the price we're going to pay. Most favored nations. That's what it is. One breast cancer drug costs Americans over $16,000 per bottle, but the same drug from the same factory, manufactured by the same company, is 1/6 that price in Australia and 1/10 that price in Sweden. 1/10 for the identical product. A common asthma drug costs almost $500 here in America, but costs less than $40 in the United Kingdom. So $40 in the United Kingdom, which is where this gentleman told me he paid a small amount for his shot. But think of that. So $40 versus $500 here. That's not even bad. There are much worse examples. And the weight loss drug, Ozempic, costs 10 times more in the United States than in the rest of the developed world. 10 times more. Why? What did we do? Suckers. But we never had a president that had the courage to do this. And nobody knew the system like I do. I mean, I've gotten to know this system so well.
So supposedly this is how this is going to work. Health and Human Services, now run by the one and only Robert F. Kennedy Jr., yes, RFK is in the House, has 30 days to tell drug companies, lower your prices. They're supposed to offer these deals to Medicare, Medicaid, even private insurance. And if they don't play ball, HHS can drop the hammer with new rules or other moves to enforce it. Trump is also cutting these sleazy middlemen, which I'm looking at you, pharmacy benefit managers, and letting you buy drugs straight from the source. Plus, he's opening the door to import cheaper drugs from more countries and sicking the DOJ on Big Pharma's shady tricks. This is bigger than his first term swing, and Trump's hyping 30 to 90% price cuts like yesterday. I think it goes without saying, this is Trump at his best. This is what we voted for. He is swinging for the fences against Big Pharma, this ultimate swamp monster. For too long, they've been price gouging us while other countries skate by on cheap prices. And this move is right in line with what seems to be the theme of President Trump's presidency. His entire approach has been stop screwing over the American people. Stop dumping your criminals in our country, Venezuela. Stop cheating the system, China. Stop spending our tax dollars on useless projects, USAID. Stop putting everyone else on planet Earth before American citizens, while every other nation gets to take advantage of our hard work, our innovation, and our tax dollars. And now it's Big Pharma's turn. And obviously, this could be a real game changer for Americans. Think about your grandma rationing her meds or your neighbor skipping doses to pay the rent. I mean, we all heard from the left for years how concerned they've been about grandma over the last few years. Get the shot or grandma's going to die. Trump is going to cut Social Security, so grandma is going to die. Our grandparents won't be able to survive Trump's administration. Yet he hasn't cut Social Security, and he's making grandma's life much easier. But of course, not everybody's going to be excited about this. Big Pharma, in particular, is crying louder than a toddler in a toy store. In this post, it says, it's been reported that Pfizer is upset because Trump just forced drug prices to match what other countries pay. That means less cash for Big Pharma and lower costs for American families. They're not mad because it's wrong. They're mad because it will cut their profits. The pharma and the biotech crowd are saying that this is government overreach that'll choke innovation and kill jobs at small drug companies, which I understand because new drugs cost billions to make. And if we squeeze too hard, we might not get the next life-saving pill. And we don't want to hinder innovation and development, but we also need transparency on these costs. And if we're being ripped off for no other reason than that Big Pharma can and has been allowed to do so for so long, then we need to know, and it needs to stop. Then, of course, there is going to be legal drama. Trump tried this most favored nation thing in 2020, and the courts yeeted it into oblivion. Experts are already side-eyeing this order, saying it's light on how it'll force private companies to comply, and Big Pharma has their lawyers, and they're ready to sue this into next year. And I do have to roll my eyes a little bit when Trump says this is going to be like an instantaneous 30 to 90% cut, because drug pricing is a massive dumpster fire. There's rebates, there are insurance games, you name it. Experts and professionals are saying that this isn't going to magically lower our pharmacy bills by tomorrow. Some even warn drug companies might pull a fast one, like jacking up prices abroad or pulling out of low-cost countries to protect their U.S. cash cow. And realistically, I don't see how this could go into effect that quickly. However, that doesn't minimize the move. And the difference between the talking points about how much the last administration cared about the American people and railed against expensive healthcare costs, the difference now is that we have someone in office who has the cojones to get it done. Actually, we have a lot of people with cojones that'll get it done in this administration. So, yeah. Now, I do have to admit that as a conservative, I squint a little bit at this move because it does sound a lot like government meddling, and that is something that we are just tired of. Forcing prices to match Europe, that's giving me a little bit socialist vibes, and you know that that's not our thing. Even Bernie Sanders is whining, saying Trump's blaming foreigners instead of pharma, and if Bernie's mad, something's gotta be weird, right? And of course, we have to talk about the fact that there are valid comparisons that need to be made between what Trump is proposing here versus the price caps that Kamala Harris proposed during her campaign, because I absolutely think that that is a fair question. I saw this meme floating around. It says price control is communism, and then they have their brain switched. And then it says price controls will save America. So obviously there are people on the left thinking that there is some hypocrisy going on here. But I want to go over the differences in these plans because not all proposals are the same. Trump's objective is to have the US pay the same price for specific drugs as what other countries are paying for those drugs. He's deferring to the Department of Health and Human Services to look at international pricing and set price targets based on that information, while also offering direct-to-consumer purchasing programs, which eliminates the middleman and the associated costs that come with all of the red tape. It's a market-based approach involving the input from drug makers without setting arbitrary price caps. Kamala's proposal was based on government-led price controls, implementing direct caps on out-of-pocket drug costs for Americans without eliminating the red tape or unnecessary middlemen, and obviously lowering costs without getting rid of all of the stuff in the middle that we might not need to be paying for means that there's less money coming from us while we're still expected to cover everything, whether it's needful or wasteful. And the consequences, of course, are going to hit us first. They'd still all be getting paid while we'd have fewer options for medication. Trump's plan also applies to a wide range of prescription drugs, not limited to Medicare or Medicaid, and could potentially include private insurance and weight loss drugs. Whereas Kamala Harris's plan was focused on Medicare, expanding the Inflation Reduction Act's Medicare negotiation program, which only covered a limited number of high-cost drugs. It also targeted U.S. pricing without any reference to global pricing. As far as implementation, Trump is directing HHS to handle this, the experts in this area, by setting targets within 30 days and developing rules for drug makers who refuse to work with them. Whereas Harris's proposal would have depended on congressional approval to expand Medicare negotiations, meaning this is likely one more thing that Harris promised to make herself sound good, like the student loan forgiveness thing, but knows that it would never happen because it wouldn't make it into law. And people have noticed the difference in these proposals. Trump is taking a market-based approach, whereas Kamala's was a communist-style use of price controls. And of course, there are going to be a lot of politicians who are sweating this. This says Elizabeth Warren received over $10 million from Big Pharma. Warren ranks number 3 in profiting from COVID. Anyone being paid by the drug companies has no place on the committee regarding America's health. It's a huge conflict of interest, and senators' wallets always seem to win out. This post says Democrats are upset with President Trump slashing drug prices because they are owned by the big pharma lobbyists. So again, this is why Kamala's price caps would not have worked for us, because they would still be getting all of their money. Everybody would be getting paid. We just wouldn't have the same options, and obviously that would be devastating, especially to grandma. So where do we land on this? Well, I am definitely all in favor of Trump taking a sledgehammer to Big Pharma's greed. This is the bold, in-your-face leadership that we voted for, and if it works, it is going to be a massive win for every American drowning in drug costs, and that includes you liberals. But the road ahead has got more potholes in it than a freeway in a blue state. There's going to be lawsuits, a pharma pushback, and of course there is a messy pricing system to deal with. We need Congress, obviously, to grow a spine and pass real laws and not just lean on Trump's pen. If Trump and RFK Jr. can make this stick, it'll be legendary. If it crashes in court or leaves prices sky high, then obviously it's just noise. As conservatives, we back the mission, but we demand the results. Unlike Democrats who voted over and over and over again based on the promise of student loan forgiveness, but didn't see a delivery but still continued to support their side of things, they'll vote based on talking points, while we actually demand that our elected representatives deliver. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. Please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you so much for doing that. Other than that, keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.